Have you ever felt paralyzed by fear? Unsure of your worth? Wondering if one person can truly make a difference? There was a woman who felt all these things. A woman who was told she was too plain, too awkward, too opinionated. A woman who lost both parents by age 10. A woman whose husband betrayed her trust. Yet this same woman became the most admired woman in America. She rewrote the role of First Lady. She fought for civil rights when it was dangerous. She helped draft the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Her name was Eleanor Roosevelt.
Eleanor said something that changed millions of lives. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. She didn't just say this, she lived it. Terrified of public speaking, she forced herself to lecture. Afraid of being judged, she wrote a daily newspaper column for 27 years. Here's what she understood. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite fear. Think about it. What's one thing you've been avoiding because you're afraid? That difficult conversation? That business idea? That creative project? Eleanor's law tells us your growth lives on the other side of that fear. Your challenge today? Do one thing that scares you. Just one. Watch how it changes you.
Eleanor faced brutal criticism throughout her life. Newspapers mocked her appearance. Political opponents attacked her character. Even people close to her doubted her abilities. But she understood something profound. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Read that again. Your consent. Other people's opinions are just that, opinions. They only have power if you hand it to them. Eleanor chose to define herself by her values, not by others' judgments. She knew her worth wasn't determined by her critics, but by her contributions. In our world of social media and constant comparison, this law is more vital than ever. Ask yourself, whose opinion am I giving too much power to? What would change if I withdrew that consent today?
After discovering her husband's affair, Eleanor could have become bitter. Instead, she channeled her pain into purpose. She visited coal mines to see workers' conditions firsthand. She fought for fair wages. She traveled to World War II military bases to boost morale. She championed the forgotten and marginalized. Eleanor understood the purpose of life is to live it, to taste experience to the utmost, to reach out eagerly and without fear for newer and richer experience. But here's the key. The richest experiences come from serving something bigger than ourselves. When you're focused only on your own problems, they grow larger. When you serve others, your perspective expands and your own challenges shrink. Today's action. Find one way to help someone else, not for recognition, just because you can.
Eleanor didn't go to college. She wasn't born with special advantages. Yet she became one of the most knowledgeable and respected voices of her time. How? She was ferociously curious. She read constantly. She asked questions. She traveled. She listened to people from all walks of life. She knew that the mind must be trained to think, and one must read and study. In our age of information, ignorance is a choice. You have access to more knowledge than Eleanor ever dreamed of. The question is, are you using it? Are you learning something new each day, challenging your assumptions, growing your understanding? Make this commitment. Spend 15 minutes today learning something that expands your worldview.
Eleanor didn't just talk about equality, she acted on it. In 1939, when the Daughters of the American Revolution refused to let black singer Marian Anderson perform at their venue, Eleanor didn't just complain. She publicly resigned from the organization and helped arrange for Anderson to sing at the Lincoln Memorial instead. 75,000 people attended. Millions listened on the radio. One principled action, massive impact. Eleanor understood it is not enough to talk about ideals. You must live them. Your values mean nothing if they don't translate into action. Reflect. What principle matters most to you? What action will you take this week to honor it?
Eleanor's life was marked by loss and betrayal. Orphaned young, husband's infidelity, son's struggles with alcoholism, constant public scrutiny. Yet she didn't break. She adapted. She wrote, "A woman is like a tea bag. You never know how strong she is until she gets in hot water." Notice she didn't say if she gets in hot water. She said when. Challenges aren't obstacles to your path. They are the path. Eleanor's resilience came from accepting difficulty as part of life, then asking, what can I learn from this? How can I use this to help others? Life will test you. The question isn't whether storms will come, but whether you'll let them destroy you or develop you. Your turn. Think of a current challenge. Ask yourself Eleanor's question. How is this making me stronger? Eleanor was tall, had prominent teeth, and spoke with a high voice. By conventional standards of her time, she wasn't considered beautiful. She could have hidden. Instead, she showed up, authentically, powerfully, unapologetically. She understood you wouldn't worry so much about what others think of you if you realized how seldom they do. Most people are too busy worrying about themselves to judge you as harshly as you judge yourself. Your authenticity is your power. When you try to be someone else, you rob the world of your unique contribution. Remember, someone out there needs exactly what you have to offer, but only if you show up as yourself.
Eleanor didn't waste energy on regret or anxiety. She was famous for her ability to be fully present in each moment. She wrote, "Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift." That's why it's called the present. Think about how much mental energy you waste reliving the past or fearing the future. The past is unchangeable. The future is uncontrollable. But this moment is yours. Eleanor squeezed everything she could from each day, not by rushing, but by being fully engaged in whatever she was doing. Practice this. For the next hour, be completely present. No phone checking, no mental drifting, just here, now. Despite her busy schedule, Eleanor maintained deep friendships. She wrote thousands of personal letters. She remembered details about people's lives. She knew that many people will walk in and out of your life, but only true friends will leave footprints in your heart. In our digital age, we have more connections, but fewer real relationships. Eleanor teaches us quality over quantity, depth over breadth. Take action. Reach out to someone you care about. Not a text, a real conversation. Invest in that relationship.
Eleanor wasn't naive. She saw poverty, war, and injustice up close, but she chose hope. She believed it is better to light a candle than curse the darkness. Notice the wisdom here. She didn't pretend there was no darkness. She acknowledged it. Then she chose to be a light. Optimism without action is delusion, but action without hope is exhausting. Eleanor balanced both, seeing reality clearly while believing change was possible. Your choice. Will you be someone who complains about problems or someone who lights candles?
Physical courage is facing danger. Moral courage is standing for what's right when it costs you something. Eleanor stood with civil rights activists when it was politically dangerous. She spoke against internment of Japanese Americans when it was unpopular. She pushed for women's rights when it threatened her husband's political career. She understood, do what you feel in your heart to be right, for you'll be criticized anyway. You will face criticism, whether you do something or nothing. So you might as well do what's right. Ask yourself, where am I compromising my values to avoid criticism? What needs to change? Eleanor experienced legitimate anger at injustice, at cruelty, at inequality, but she channeled it productively. She didn't just rage, she wrote, she organized, she lobbied, she created change. Anger itself isn't bad, it's a signal that something matters to you. The question is, what will you do with it? Will you let it make you bitter, or use it as fuel for making things better? Reflect. What injustice angers you? How can you channel that energy into constructive action? Eleanor was generous with her time and energy, but she also knew her limits. She said no to many requests. She protected her private time. She maintained boundaries, even with family members who demanded too much. Boundaries aren't selfish, they're essential. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't help others if you've depleted yourself. Eleanor's generosity lasted decades because she understood this principle. Practice. Identify one boundary you need to set this week. Set it with grace but firmness.
Eleanor didn't work for applause. She worked for impact. She asked herself, what will matter in 100 years? This question shaped her priorities. It helped her ignore trivial criticism and focus on meaningful work. At the United Nations, she spent 3 years helping draft the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, work that continues to protect people worldwide. That's legacy. Consider, if you could only accomplish one thing in the next year, what would have the most lasting, positive impact?
Eleanor didn't achieve greatness overnight. She worked consistently for decades. She wrote her newspaper column, My Day, 6 days a week for 27 years. She traveled tirelessly. She spoke, wrote, organized, and fought for change until the end of her life. She knew great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, small minds discuss people. But even more importantly, she knew that great things come from small, consistent actions over time. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary isn't talent, it's persistence. You don't need to be brilliant, you need to show up. Commit. What's one small action you can take daily toward your biggest goal?
Eleanor Roosevelt was born into privilege but chose purpose over comfort. She faced losses that could have broken her, but chose growth over bitterness. She lived in an era that tried to limit her, but chose courage over conformity. These 15 laws weren't just principles she believed, they were truths she lived. And here's what's beautiful. These laws work for anyone. They don't require special circumstances or extraordinary talent. They require only one thing: the decision to live them. So let me ask you, which of Eleanor's laws resonates most deeply with you right now? Is it the law of daily courage, doing what scares you? The law of self-definition, refusing to let others diminish you? The law of service over self, finding meaning in helping others? Choose one, just one, and commit to living it this week. Because Eleanor Roosevelt proved something profound. An ordinary person who lives by extraordinary principles becomes extraordinary. You have that same power within you. The question is, will you use it? Eleanor Roosevelt once wrote, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. But she didn't stop there. She spent her life showing us that the future belongs to those who act on those dreams. So go, act, live these laws, make Eleanor proud, make yourself proud. The world is waiting for your light. Good luck, little ant.